Welcome back to Nick Learns Thai. I'm Nick. In this video, I'm just going to give you a bit of an update on my Anki strategy at the moment. I've been plugging away at Anki pretty diligently recently. I changed my number of cards per day to 35 with 350, I think, reviews up to, which has been a pretty hard slog. The reason I have it this high is because I wanted to get through the full 4,000 deck by the end of June. At least I wanted to see all the cards during that time. So I sort of calculated what I needed to do per day in order to get to that goal, and it was about 35 per day new cards, and it's led to me having to spend pretty much an hour every day, which I probably wouldn't recommend. It's a little bit too much, and if I miss a day or I do a partial day, like I did yesterday, it means you either get behind or you have to do, extra the next day. So what I'm actually doing today is I'm doing extra. So I only got about 17 or so done yesterday in my session yesterday. So I'm actually usually not doing it in one big session. I'm usually breaking up into sessions over the day. So let's say it's an hour, maybe it's 3 20-minute sessions or 4 15-minute sessions to try and get through it, because if you have to do it all in one go, it's pretty brutal. And yesterday I sort of done an earlier session during the day, got about sort of 17 or so done, about half, and then I just didn't have time to do the rest. I got to late at night and I started working on it again, and I just too tired and I wanted to go head to bed. So decided I'll put it off, and then today I'll catch up on it. So just a bit of an update of my process, and let me bring up a share here. So I'm back on the frequent 4,000 deck. I've Originally, when I started this deck, I'd actually done both the forward and backwards, so Thai to English and English back to Thai. But more recently, I just kind of got rid of the reverse cards. So the cards I'd already covered, which was about 1,000, about 1,200, I think, or 1,100 cards that were English to Thai. I still have those in the deck, so they'll still come up in the reviews from time to time. But I got rid of all of the cards going forward that were English to Thai. So I've only got the Thai to English. And like I said, click on this. So I've got 33. I've already done a bunch today. Actually, if you go back, I've already done 50 minutes or so. And I'll just look at the options here. So I've got it set to 52 and 520 for today because I wanted to cover those cards I missed yesterday. But then after I've finished today's cards, I'll put this back to 35, and I think it's 350, the maximum new reviews per day that they recommend for a number of new cards of 350. Once again, I probably wouldn't recommend this unless you really want to get through a lot of cards quickly and you can be diligent enough to put the time in. Other than that, though, oops. That. Other than that, I wouldn't really recommend it because it's difficult. But I'll take you through a few and I'll just show you my process.
ประหาร
Brahan, Brahan. I'm really trying to focus as well on doing good pronunciation, because I'm trying to work on my pronunciation at the moment with a tutor, and that's an area of my Thai that I felt needed work. And I'm not too bad on my individual word pronunciation. Most of my issues come when I'm putting words together into a sentence, and pronunciation gets lost, or it's meant to change based on how Thais naturally put Thai together when they're pronouncing things in a sentence as opposed to individual words. And so it's meant to change, but mine isn't changing, or it's changing in the wrong way. So I'm not too bad with my individual words, but still there's bits and pieces, particularly with my low tone, that I'm trying to improve and just drill. So I try to focus on that for sure when I'm doing my Anki sessions. Brahan, I don't know. Execute. The other thing I try to do is I try to go through them pretty quickly. If I don't know it, I try to just go again, again, again. This probably leads to more repetitions of each word before I get it, because maybe I'm not thinking as long. If I thought really long about it, maybe I could remember what that word was. But the process I've found that works at the moment is I'll just kind of go again, again, again until I get it. Maybe it takes a bit longer, but maybe it's a little bit less frustrating, perhaps. Anyway,
นี่
execute.
เอง
Ni eng, ni eng. Again, does not ring a bell. Just this. Oh, yeah, yeah, just this. Yeah. Ni eng.
ระงับ
Ring up, ring up, ring up. Something like strain. There we go. It's a strain, a strain. Also with this deck, often you'll have multiple words as the meaning, and what I do is just if I get one of them, that's enough for me, even if there's two there. And sometimes I'll even say to myself like several different English words that I think it might be that are in a kind of a group, and I get one of them. I just give myself that
ท่าที
tarty, tarty. Oh, attitude. There we go.
ปราบ
Bra, bra. I'm trying to get the vocal fry with my low tone there. It's one of the things I've been working on. Bra. Subdue.
หาความ
หาความ หาความ Uh, not sure. Accuse, charge.
ชิง
Ching, ching. What's that? Fight for?
ตีความ
ตีความ ตีความ ตีความ is it translate or something like that? Translate. Interpret. Interpret, translate. So this is a question like where I'm like, am I going to give myself that? Translate, interpret. It's pretty similar. I think I'll say anyway.
ออม
Uh, say
ทั่ว
tour. It's like all entire, complete. Entire complete.
ประดิษฐ์
Pradip, pradip,
ประดิษฐ์
pradip, 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 pradip. Invent, create, make up.
ก้าน
Gan, stem, store.
รับจ้าง
รับจ้าง รับจ้าง This is sort of taking freelance work or taking, that kind of work for hire, freelance. Bun, bun, bun. It's like divide and sort of distribute, portion, allocate.
ผลักดัน
ผลักดันผลักดันผลักดันดันผลักดันดัน You might notice me putting like an N sound before my door deck. That's because I have a problem with my door deck sounding like my door dao. But that's one of the things, the tricks, I guess, that I'm working on to try and soften the door, the door deck, I guess, the of the door deck, to make it more correct. Palaktan, palaktan. I remember driving.
คาดหวัง
คาดหวัง คาดหวัง คาดหวัง That's a hope.
องค์ประกอบ
องค์ประกอบ องค์ประกอบ Like a component, I think. Component.
หลีกเลี่ยง
หลีกเลี่ยง หลีกเลี่ยง หลีกเลี่ยง หลีกเลี่ยง so it's like mistake or something. Yeah, so this is a weird example, like interesting, where so I was wrong, but I was in the sort of same ballpark. So my brain's like got some idea of what the concept is, but it's just slightly missed it. But yeah. Anyway, I think that gives you a nice little window into what I'm doing. That's enough to kind of give you an idea of my practice at the moment. One other thing I wanted to mention is, what happens if I have a word coming and coming and coming and I just can't get it. So, I mean, something that you'll find, or something that I find, is some words I just get them for some whatever reason. They just can't. They sink into my brain quicker than others. So within like even just one or two or three repetitions, it's already kind of there, and I can get the meaning pretty quick. Others they just take forever. Well, and there's a spectrum, I guess. Some take longer. Maybe there's a spectrum, but you know, at the far end of the spectrum, they just take forever. And I don't have like a precise number before I do this, but at a certain point, after it's just taking so long to get it, I'll try to come up with a little mnemonic to remember that word. Now, I was hoping a word would come up that I could sort of demonstrate it, but one hasn't. So let me just go back to some that I remember from ages ago. That's the power of these mnemonics, is that you just remember them forever once that you have them sort of locked in. So to remember the months, I had a mnemonic for each month pretty much. So mitunayon, for June. So tuna, tuna. It's not exactly tuna, but I thought of tuna, fish, tuna, and then I sort of imagined that, you know, tuna likes to swim in cold water, and in Australia, June is in winter, so you have cold water, tuna. So that's one example. Another one was mokorakom, so that's January. Mokorakom, so I thought like mock, sort of sounds like mark, mark. You know, doesn't sound that similar, but you know, it's enough for me to make the association. So mark. I imagined in January, you know, early January, let's say, because it's following Christmas. So at Christmas time, typically we have a lot of food, food mark, a lot, mark. Yeah. And then in January we still have kind of a lot of food left over, I guess, and then chocolates and all sorts of stuff that's eaten at Christmas time. So it's like mark, a lot of stuff, mark. So I just kind of imagined that, made that association that helped me to match January and this mark, and then mokorokom. And maybe just one more. Let me think here. Let's singhakom, August. So singhakom. So I imagined, so I have a friend whose birthday's in August, and they like singing. So singing. And so I made that association to that person, and then that person's birthday is August. So that's how I got singhakom to August. So this is kind of just an example, like some examples of how I use this concept. And that's what I do when I've seen a word several different times and I just haven't, you know, get it to sink in. I try to come up with a little mnemonic or a story or a picture, imagine something. Rawatisa. That's one that's one I came up with for history. And I imagined this picture of like a museum, kind of like a museum or like the Louvre or something like that, this sort of old art gallery. So picture like that, with a kind of a nice painting kind of leaning in the middle, like a bunch of stuff in the middle with a painting there, an old painting, and then a bra draped over the painting. So bra, what's art? So it's got the art painting, it's got the bra, what's art, and because it's in a museum, that's the association with history. So bra what's art. I think there's actually two ways to pronounce that. Some people say Brawatisa. Some people say Brawatsa. But anyway, there's another little example for you. So I think that this is a really powerful way to remember words. I had thought about doing it for every word, but actually I saw something recently, someone recommending that, you know, they tried to do it for every word for a different language, and they found that they all got muddled up because they had, if you have too many of these little stories, little mnemonics and pictures, I think you'll find, I mean, I think that he's probably right that would happen with me as well, because I do find it happening a little bit. And that's why I try to restrict it to only words that I've seen several times and I just haven't been able to get. Okay, all right, I think that pretty much covers it for this video. Thanks for tuning in. If you're interested in seeing more, don't forget to subscribe, like. If you've got any comments, any ideas on how you use flashcards and Anki deck, etc., chuck them in the comments below. I'm going to get rid of this share. So, yep, thanks very much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.